So when I move on to creating my own skin tones, what we need to make sure we are doing is writing down the combination of colors we have used to achieve the desired swatch. Okay, whatever the desired skin tone is, we want to make sure we have record of that so we can go back to that since we'll be using it plenty of times throughout the project. So one thing your paper says is when we look at skin tones, one thing is clear. There is a lot of diversity to celebrate. Not a single person perfectly matches the colors inside a box of crayons. So why should we settle for shades that don't accurately represent our identity? Hint, we shouldn't have to. So your goal in this worksheet is to create color swatches for each of the values you see in your picture. Remember, we've got lighter values where the light hits first. So my forehead, the bridge of my nose, the edge of my nose, even my chin, and the apples of my cheeks where the light hits too, because those stick out the farthest. And then areas that are a little further back, like my eyes or even this crease under my cheeks, and then where my hair covers my forehead here, and I have this shadow, I do have a different skin tone here when that shadow hits. So my skin tone, even though on my face it's pretty much the same all around, in the photo it's not, because light and shadows are doing different things here. So we need to figure out what each of our different values and shadows are, including our highlights. And so we're gonna practice that here. So you're gonna create color swatches for each of the values you see in your picture and note the color combinations it took to make each of the skin tones. This will come in handy when you're actually doing your final project. Note, your values are the highlights and shadows. The light hits your high points and low points. You will have multiple values because you are not a flat object. So I do have more of a peach, fair, neutral, and pale skin tone. So I am going to make sure that I keep those things in mind as I am working on matching this photograph. So for starters, I do have a lot of points where the light is hitting my face because this picture was taken in front of a window. So lots of natural light is hitting my skin. So I'm gonna start out with this Naples yellow, that's that really pale yellow, and white, and then even this pale orange that looks more like a peach pink color. So this would be my area where I have highlights. So I'm actually gonna write this down. Highlights, and then I'm going to create that color and then write down the different colors it took to make that, but I don't want to write it yet because I'm not 100% sure that these three colors are going to give me the shade I want right here. So if I stop making my swatch right here, on my paper, this skin tone is a little bit more yellow than what I have here. I do have a lot of pink undertones in my skin, so I want to match them together and see how close they are. And when I put them side by side, I can see that my swatch has way more yellow than I actually have over here. So instead of going back into it with this peach color right away, I'm going to put some white in it because, like I said, these are hitting my highest points. So the light is making them very light. So I'm just gonna go over it with some white and see how that matches. And that already is a lot closer, especially in person. The camera may be not picking it up. But going over it with white is really making a difference and making it much lighter. So I am kind of getting more of a buttery yellow color now. So I'm just gonna go over it again with this pale orange, just to get that peach color kind of dominating again, and then I'll do white instead of the yellow to keep that warm look to my skin. And this now matches pretty well to the forehead color I have here. So I am going to write down the three things I've used, which are white, pale orange, and Naples yellow. I'm going to continue this process for other areas of my face because not all parts of my face are this exact same color. I have a darker color here, so I need to know how to make that. So I'm going to get rid of the white for now because I haven't got as much light on my face there, but I am going to keep this pale orange, this Naples yellow, and I'm going to go back into that darker color that's a little more pink. It's called salmon pink, and I will start trying to get this color that's right here on the side of my face. Now, there are some areas on my face that this probably matches a little bit better. So maybe I want to consider where the light's hitting down here on my cheek instead. So I'll use this color as my cheek with the shadow. And I'm going to write down the three I've used, which is salmon pink. These are obviously going to be different for each of you, but I am just showing you kind of what the process is going to look like, and you will continue this for your entire picture and your face. I've got Naples again, and I have that pale orange. I'm going to skip ahead to my darkest value, which is going to be right here where my hair is kind of putting a shadow on my face, where it meets my eyelid and the top part of my cheek and right above my eyebrow. I'm gonna try to achieve that color the best I can. Now, it is important to remember that when you are using darker colors overpower very quickly when you are doing any sort of color mixing with paint, oil pastel, crayon, colored pencil, whatever it is. So if you saw, I was using burnt sienna, but I just did a little bit of it, and I went back in and layered some more of that again later on, and then I went back over it with white or this pale orange color to kind of cancel out some of that darkness, because my skin tone really is not that dark, even in the darkest part here. So I don't want to overpower with this dark brown, because the whole thing's going to become dark brown if I'm not careful. So little bits at a time, you can start to achieve the colors you're looking for, but don't do too much too quickly. You can always add more, but you really can't take it away once you've applied that color. So here I'm going to write where my hair covers my cheek. And then I'm just gonna write down this combination, and then you will do the same thing for your photograph. But keep in mind, anywhere that the hair is covering your face, you're gonna have the same results. If your hair's in your face creating a shadow, you will have to make these values darker, even if it doesn't look like the rest of your skin tone, because it is a value for a reason. So where the light hits, where the shadows hit, all of these things you should take into consideration when you are matching your skin tones. Now for the background, you're not going to be creating your background with oil pastel. This is another step in the project that we will do at the very end. But I do want you to pay attention to the rest of your photograph in terms of your hair, or if you have any accessories on. Here I have earrings, and then my shirt you can see a little bit of. Some of you will have your picture going all the way to the edge of the page, and I do want you to know how to make these values as well. So my hair is kind of a dark reddish brown color, so I'm going to mix together brown, burnt sienna, and then Van Dyke brown, and kind of mix them together to see if I can achieve this color. Just like your skin tone, your hair has different values too, because light hits it in different places, shadows hit it in different places, so it will have values of its own, even if it's not skin. Anything that the light can hit or the light can hide from has a highlight or a shadow, meaning it's got different values. So you need to know how to make each and every one of these. If you cannot achieve your natural hair color or the hair color in your picture with any of these colors here, I do have multicolored oil pastels that we've been practicing with that you're welcome to use. But these are also good for making hair colors as well, since they are more of natural multicultural colors. So for my hair, what I did was I actually went back and added sienna to it because it wasn't getting dark enough. So I used sienna, brown, Van Dyke brown, and burnt sienna. In most places on this worksheet, I do want you focusing specifically on skin tones, but if you map out your values and kind of circle with your pencil where you've got your lighter areas, where you've got your shadows, some darker areas, things like that. If you really only see 4 or 5 different colors and there are 6 boxes here, then use the last one to try to create your hair color, okay?